camisand. Super grub or heavy grub hook, depending on the company you actually use. This is a good strong hook. You could use the check nymph style hooks as well. If you want to debarb, which I do a lot, basically just, well, it's best to do it on the vise actually, just to press the barb in with the vise, and you'll get a nice flat area, just a perfect barber suit. Now I'm going to be tying the Marabou bug. First I do, I've got some lead foil here, sticky back. Depending on how heavy, this is a size 10. And basically I put one layer down, just catch it, sticky back on at the back of the hook, and work your way up. Touch and turns till you get towards the eye, and then break it off. It's very easy to do. If you want it a wee bit heavier, then you'd add another layer. But in this style I like them quite thin. Now, thread, I mean you could use the UTC, anything like that. I'm going to use just basically a chartreuse in this case, which is a uni, and it's an 8/0. And start at the eye, keeping hold of the waste piece of thread, just tighten this up a wee bit, the waste piece of thread, and work your way down. What I'm doing here is allowing the thread to come up onto the base piece and I'm pushing it. This here controls the turns and allows you to get basically close touch and turns all the way down and round the bend, and then you can break it off. At this point I come back up, that there secures in the lead. The rib of the fly is going to be an orange flexifloss. Flexifloss there. Now, thorax area, it's probably like maybe 6mm or so from the eye and back. At this point I'm just going to catch in the flexifloss and pull it. Don't pull it all the way in. Leave a small tail so that you can actually cut it away. Stretch out the flexifloss and take your thread all the way back round. Now the way to put Marabou on is very simple. What I do is, the tips of the Marabou is the best part. Remove the point of your Marabou plume, and then at the stem, cut part of the stem away. Basically you end up with the right and left length of herald of the Marabou and tapered, and as well small handle here of the stem, basically gives you something to hold. And it's very easy to attach it. All I do is, close to the stem, I do a full turn of thread all the way around, a loose turn, and pull in the points. Just basically bring these all the way in to the point, or close to the point, to where you get enough material to form the body. And then it's a matter of then coming up. Now, you're best to trim away the excess. Keep the thread tight and bind these in. Take your thread all the way back up. What's said about leaving the small tail of the flexifloss, basically so you can hold it, stretch it out and trim. What happens there is it's a much neater cut by stretching it. If you cut it basically straight in without doing that, you have a wee lump, like it's just a pain when you go to tie. Now there's your Marabou, basically holding the handle at the end. There's a handle. Now I'm going to wind the Marabou, because it's a herald now, the opposite way I'm winding normally. I would wind away from myself, tying in the rib, tying on the thread. The Marabou is the weakest fibre, but at the same time, when you go to rib the fly, if you counter rib with the herald, you'll see the rib much better if you do that. And then as you see, because I've tied it in by the tip, and as I build up the body, I'm going to form a taper. The herald will get slightly longer as I go, as you wind up. Makes a great body. Now you could put a shell or some sort over the back of this. It's entirely up to you, and I would probably do it if you wanted to. If you didn't want to do it, I'm going to varnish the top. Now what I've done there is move the excess and carried on down with the thread, anything going forward. I'm going to stroke it back and use the thread to hold it down. And then come back up to this point here. As you see, the type of body you get is perfect. And the marabou fibres are very soft and mobile. Then all you have to do is get your flexi-floss rib. Now you can rib with this up to this point and then add on, like say a herald or whatever, or a dubbed. But if say you're going to, like my favourite way is basically to get say a couple of, this is dyed, a nice olive peacock herald. Got 2 fibre lengths there. Trim the points away because they are quite weak. I'm going to tie them in quite close to the tip though. And then bind these down and run it up towards the eye. Again, I'm going to wind this the opposite way that I wind my thread on and my rib. I'm actually winding towards myself. Cross the thread, 1, 2, 1 on top to catch it and 1 to lock it on the hook. Stroke anything going forward, back, and including the herald itself. Basically tucking it back, nice and tight. Now I put a small half hitch, basically just twist the thread, form a small loop, pull it in with your fingers, and that then stops any of the thread turns getting or falling off the end of the hook while you're tying, especially on a grub style hook. It's more likely that'll happen if you don't do that. And then your flexi floss, basically rib it up through, nice and tight, all the way up. Just be careful you don't catch too much of the marabou down. All the way up towards the eye. Across the thread. And again, I'll fold it back. Anything going forward the eye, stroke it back, use the thread to hold it down. A few turns in, keep the thread tight, and forget the flexi floss just now. Basically just concentrate and whip finish. Trim away thread, stretch, trim away the flexi floss. There you go, basically that's the fly tied. You could use it as it is just now, but what I like to do is just pull this down. Now get yourself, this is an old varnish that's got quite really thick, as you can see. Now what I do is get my needle, my dubbing needle, and get some of this heavy varnish. Really just sit it on the top. Like it's really glue-like. And then finger just lightly rub the varnish on the top. I keep rubbing until it actually starts to dry. You'll feel it drying, it gets very stiff. Basically that is it. Now, any fibres, anything like you may see there that take it away. What happens now, you allow that to dry. Now what's that as well has happened, because the glue is quite thick, or the varnish, it forms like a fine edge along each side of the nymph. As you can probably see, that's like a small step if you want to pull it. And when you varnish on top of that, it stops it running round. Now that dries extremely quick. That's why I like to use a heavy or a thick varnish. Just allow an old bottle to run quite heavy. Now once you've done that and it's dry, you've basically got to wait till it's dry. And then start varnishing it up with normal varnish. Just lay it on the top and run it all the way down. I know you could just use a nymph skin or something like that on top, but this is the way I originally tied the fly, and I still like it. And once that dries and you build up 2 or 3 coats, what happens is, I'll show you the finished fly.